Divine Revelation, the miraculous legacy of Cain's wife and the 12 sacred children of Adam Eve. The village nestled near the ancient chapel buzzed with whispers of enchantment, tales of miracles woven into their very fabric. Sarah, a devoted woman marked by faith, clutched her Bible, feeling the sacred energy pulse through her fingertips. She believed that hidden within these stories lurked the essence of divine blessings, especially those connected to Cain's wife and the 12 sacred children of Adam and Eve. Mystical legends spoke of their power to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, and Sarah, with her unwavering heart, felt compelled to unlock these divine secrets. Nightfall cast an ethereal glow over the chapel, where flickering candles danced to the rhythm of prayer. It was during one of these spirited evenings that Sarah first sensed the ancient spirits stirring. As she bowed her head, the air thrummed with a desperate plea, echoing through the chamber like a chorus of angels. Suddenly, radiant beams of light broke through the cracks, illuminating her tear-streaked face and visibly embracing the hearts around her. In that instant, 5 voices harmonized, raising their hands in reverent awe, their faith ignited as if brushed by divine wings. From that moment on, the village faced an unyielding drought. Crops shriveled under the fiery sun, and the wells whispered dry. Panic surged through homes, drowning faith in despair. The pastor's voice grew weaker, the stories of miraculous interventions fading into hushed tones. Yet, Sarah, filled with divine urgency, rallied her neighbors. "Come, let us pray," she called, her voice steady amidst the storm of doubt. "Our ancestors' story holds the key to our salvation." Some villagers, weary from hopelessness, mocked her. Others folded their arms in silent resignation. What can a few prayers do? But Sarah lifted her chin, determined like a lioness defending her cubs. She saw glimpses of hope, gathering a handful of souls whose hearts still flickered with faith. Each night, they joined at the chapel, their murmurs soaring into the heavens. "Saints of old, hear our cries. Grant us healing, restore our land." Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Then, like a lightning bolt, hope struck when an elder, bent with age yet glimmering with wisdom, stumbled upon an ancient manuscript that spoke of intertwined destinies. The miraculous legacy of Cain's wife held within its sacred pages. It reveals, he declared, voice trembling, the prayers of the 12 sacred children turned the tide for their people. A bond to the divine, hidden for centuries. Could it lead us to salvation? Sarah's heart raced. This revelation ignited a fervor within her. A thread of faith stitched tight, wrapping around the village with sides of wonder and disbelief. What if this ancient connection could carry their desperate prayers to God, urging the heavens to open? With eyes closed and hearts entwined, they knelt in prayer, believing in the unseen, yearning for a divine remedy to their plight. As the skies loomed darker, shadows of doubt loomed alongside their fervent hope. Could this forgotten legacy fuel their faith, or would the drought snuff out their final flame? With each prayer, anticipation thickened, leaving the simmering question hanging like a dew-kissed dawn. Would a miraculous downpour wash over their parched land, or had they lost their way in the fierce winds of disbelief? The answer danced just beyond reach, and the community held its breath, waiting for a divine breakthrough. As dawn broke, its gentle light painted the chapel in hues of gold and crimson. Sarah rose early, her spirit buoyed by the communal prayers that continued to echo in her heart. She found solace in the quiet of the dawn, a moment for reflection before the world woke. The manuscript rested on a worn wooden altar, its dusty pages whispering secrets long hidden. Each word felt alive, pulsing with the kind of power Sarah had only ever read about. With a deep breath, Sarah opened the manuscript once more. The words danced before her eyes, revealing a story of faith and resilience. It spoke of how the 12 sacred children, products of a union shrouded in mystery, had gathered to pray when darkness threatened their home. Their prayers, fueled by love and desperation, had called down rain from the heavens and saved their people. Could the same be true for her village? "Lord, guide us," she murmured, clutching the pages tightly. She could almost hear the faint responses from the ancestors, encouraging her to press on. A flame ignited within. It was not only her burden but a collective one. The fate of their land hinged on their unity and faith. That evening, as twilight draped over the chapel, Sarah gathered the villagers again. This time, her voice held more certainty, more authority. "Let us not merely ask but beseech with fervor. We will channel our hearts together like those children of old." The villagers exchanged glances, some bursting with eagerness, others still caught in doubt. But Sarah could sense a shift, a slow stirring of belief beginning to take root. They knelt together, hands joined and hearts aligned. It was an impromptu assembly of hope, a community drawn tighter by the faith that bound them. "O Lord, hear our cries. We call upon the legacy of the sacred children who once turned the tide. Let their faith be our beacon." Sarah's voice rang out, filling the chapel and spilling into the village beyond. As the prayers intertwined, the air grew thick with expectation. The flickering candle flames suddenly steadied, transforming into beams of steady light that danced in the dimness. A warmth enveloped them, comforting and profound. Sarah felt a connection to the ancient past, a bridge leading straight to heaven. Though doubt still lurked in the corners of some hearts, others were beginning to awaken with renewed hope. But then, as if responding to their earnest pleas, the winds howled and the earth rumbled softly beneath their feet. The sky darkened ominously. The villagers looked around, eyes wide with an electric mix of fear and excitement. "Is something coming?" whispered one of the elders, his voice barely above a breath. "I believe, yes," Sarah replied, her spirit alight. "It begins with us. We must stay united." Just then, a single droplet of rain plopped onto the dusty ground, followed by another. The villagers gasped in awe, eyes raised to the heavens. It was not just rain, but an invitation, a move of the divine. Yet, with uncertainty lingering heavily, they prayed on, their faith trembling yet firm. Would this be the downpour they sought, or merely a tease from the skies? As drops began to gather in puddles, the question echoed through Sarah's heart. Would miracles emerge from simple faith? And, if so, what other divine connections awaited them just beyond the veil of understanding? With hearts quickening, the chapel trembled in hopeful expectation of revelation. In the thickening moment, anticipation became palpable. What awaited them? The answer hung on the edge of each prayer, each heartbeat, each droplet that fell from the sky. The rain slowly began to fall in earnest, a gentle cascade that transformed the dry earth into a patchwork of life. Each drop felt like a blessing, a promise delivered from heaven. The villagers raised their faces, letting the coolness wash over them, igniting the flames of hope already kindled in their hearts. "More, Lord! More!" Sarah cried, her voice lifted higher in the rain-soaked air. Her spirit soared, and she felt every moment of despair slip away, washed clean by the downpour. The damp earth smelled sweet and rich, it teased life from the soil. But as she lowered her head again, the joy that filled her heart flickered against a shadow of worry. Could this be enough? She pondered. What if the rains don't come to stay? What if this too passes and we are left wanting? Fear danced at the edges of her newfound faith. A movement caught her eye. It was the elder, his hands raised, face turned skyward, lips trembling in prayer. Around him, others had knelt, caught in a posture of open-hearted surrender. A connection raw and sacred bound them in that damp chapel. In that moment, Sarah felt uplifted, a part of something greater. "Remember the tales of the sacred children," she shouted, her voice rising above the sound of raindrops hitting the chapel's roof. Their faith was unwavering. Their prayers broke through the heavens. Let us hold on to that legacy. Let us believe. As she spoke, voices joined hers, building into a chorus of faith and longing. The energy in the room swelled, electric and fervent. Each villager found strength through the other, their combined voices a mighty bridge to the divine. Then came a striking moment. The air pulsed with a palpable energy. A beam of light broke through the cloud cover, illuminating the altar and the manuscript. The pages of the ancient text rustled, fluttering as if touched by an unseen presence. Sarah's heart skipped, and she felt warmth wrap around her like a cloak, a feeling that everything was unfolding as it should. "Is it an angel?" whispered a child close by, wide-eyed and innocent. "Or is it our promise being fulfilled?" Another voice chimed in. Sarah, utterly captivated, stepped forward. She could almost hear the manuscript speaking again, beckoning her closer. "Look!" she urged, and all eyes turned toward the light. In that golden glow, shimmering shapes began to materialize, silhouettes of the 12 sacred children danced in the minds of the gathered. Each figure bore a name, a story intertwined with hope and struggle. Their faces shone with the same resilience the villagers were trying to recapture. Faith has a way of pulling at the threads of time. Sarah breathed, realizing that their prayers were being answered in ways before unimaginable. Yet as awe grew in their hearts, so too did a quiet tension. A lingering question remained: would their faith be enough to sustain the rains and feed the land, or would the waters ebb away like fleeting moments of inspiration? In the deep silence following their cries, the chapel transformed. The villagers felt the weight of generations, their ancestors' dreams resting not just on the promise of rain, but on the very spirit of faith itself. As they stood there, poised between the past and their uncertain future, a single thought sparked in Sarah's heart. What might God be showing us in this moment? What divine plan is shaping our story? With anticipation hanging thick in the air, the answers remained just out of reach. Would they grasp the lessons hidden within the sacred revelations? The villagers remained engulfed in the divine moment, a swirling blend of hope and apprehension. The light shimmered, revealing echoes of the past, and each face glowed with a mixture of awe and determination. Sarah, caught in the spiritual whirlwind, dared to lift her eyes once more, seeking clarity in the brilliance. The elder's voice broke through the silent reverie. "We have been gifted with this rain, yes. But it is more than just water. It is life, renewal." His arms opened wide, inviting the congregation to embrace the truth of their ancestors' legacy. The villagers leaned in, drawn by the promise of renewal clinging to every raindrop. "Let us consider the miraculous accounts," he continued, his voice steady and assuring. "The tale of Cain's wife, who bore the burden of love through hardship. And the sacred children, formed by the hands of the Creator himself. Their faith carried them through storms, just as we stand arm in arm today." Each word branded itself into the hearts of those listening, stitching together stories of struggle and triumph. As the elder spoke of Cain's wife, a wave of remembrance coursed through the crowd. The stories passed down through generations, always shrouded in a veil of mystery. The whispers of her resilience, the heartache woven into her legacy. Sarah's heart raced. Did she not navigate her own fears? Did she not find the courage to persevere? With newfound strength, Sarah raised her voice again. "Just as they overcame, so can we." If she embodied strength and love amid trials, how can we not rise together, trusting in the waters that fall from above? The legacy of faith runs deeper than the soil beneath us. Each villager soaked in her words, a tide of unity anchoring their spirits. The light from the manuscript flickered, as if in agreement. The shimmering forms of the sacred children danced behind Sarah's closed eyelids, their laughter and joy echoing within her. It felt like a heavenly celebration. She sensed a reminder in that moment, a call to stir the dormant faith within every heart. Then, a renewed tremor swept through the chapel. The energy in the room changed, growing thicker, more charged. Sarah could feel an electric pulse emanating from the altar, calling her closer still. The ancient text glowed brighter, and she felt the weight of its history urging her forward. "Let this be our prayer," she pleaded, propelled by the tidal wave of conviction. "May these waters nourish not just our fields but our souls. Let us carry forward the spirit of those who came before us. In their faith, we find our might." The villagers responded with fervor, their voices merging into a soaring symphony of praise. The echoes of their devotion met the blessed rain, creating a melody that resonated through their very beings. Yet amid the joy, uncertainty lingered at the corners of their hearts. What if their faith did not match the gravity of the challenge ahead? As if sensing their hesitation, the dawn broke anew, illuminating each face with possibilities. In that sacred light, Sarah whispered, "What does our future hold?" Her cheeks felt warm with anticipation. The rain, though a blessing, carried with it the weight of collective responsibility. Would their faith sustain them in times when the divine silence loomed large? With the echoes of their prayers still in the air, the villagers felt the divine mystery envelop them, poised on the edge of transformation, and as they stood together, a single moment stretched like a thread, glistening with uncharted paths and divine plans. What awaited them just beyond the horizon? What steps would they take in the unfolding narrative of faith and hope? As the vibrant prayers of the villagers soared through the air, a wave of divine calm washed over Sarah. She sensed the presence of something higher, something holy surrounding them like a warm embrace. It was as if the clouds themselves held their breath, gathering strength to witness this powerful moment. The rain continued to fall, each drop resonating deeply within their souls, urging them to believe in the promise of tomorrow. Emboldened by the rising spiritual tide, Sarah turned toward the elder, who now stood more resolute than ever, a pillar of strength in the midst of the reverent gathering. His eyes sparkled under the shimmering light, reflecting both wisdom and the weight of the stories he carried. "Friends," he called, his voice steady and firm. "Our legacy is not merely what we inherit but what we choose to embody. Let us ignite our faith like a candle lit in the darkest night. We are the bearers of hope, the stewards of love." The villagers nodded, their faces a canvas of resolve and inspiration. They felt the mingling of fear and faith in their hearts, a dance as old as time itself. Questions swirled among them, doubt lingered like shadows at twilight. Yet, with their hands clasped and spirits intertwined, they chose to focus on the light. "Remember Cain's wife," the elder encouraged, his voice rising amidst the rhythmic sound of the rain. "Her journey through the valleys of despair mirrored our own. She navigated betrayal and loneliness, yet emerged with a heart full of grace. Can we not draw from her strength? Can we not reflect her courage when faced with our own trials?" This time, it was Sarah who felt a wave of clarity crashing against her doubt. In that moment, she envisioned Cain's wife standing strong, a beacon for those who felt lost. Distressed yet determined, she had fostered love among chaos. Indeed, she reminds us that from trials come the diamonds of our faith. Our path is forged by the very challenges we face. Sarah declared, fervor rising within her heart like sacred fuel. An uplifting air swept through the chapel, carrying their prayers higher, merging with the soft patter of rain outside. With each word spoken, with each prayer lifted, their collective faith seemed to morph into a tangible force, emboldening the quaking hearts of the villagers. Hope danced in their eyes, mixing with both fear and compassion. Suddenly, the light dimmed slightly, almost as if inviting the villagers to reflect on the weight of their purpose. It was a gentle reminder that with every blessing comes responsibility. What our future holds depends, not on fate, but on us. Sarah exclaimed, feeling the unity surge through her, anchoring her resolve. As the echoes of her declaration floated among them, a hush enveloped the chapel like a sacred blanket. Each villager's heart beat in sync, a rhythm of surrender and determination ringing true. In that divine quiet, it became clear that they were to be the conduits of change and faith not just for themselves, but for generations yet unborn. But even as they prepared to embrace the uncertainties ahead, a tremor of anxiety rippled through the congregation. What if their faith faltered when the storms pressed in? What if the miracles they sought seemed forever out of reach? With the last raindrops gently falling, like celestial kisses upon their skin, they could feel hope trembling at the edges of their fears. The elder gently placed his hand on Sarah's shoulder, urging her deeper into the sacred conversation, awakening her spirit to the whispers of the divine. "Remember, our faith stretches far beyond our earthly trials. Where the storms gather, so too does strength." He paused, grounding them in silence, inviting an open heart. With renewed resolve, Sarah raised her gaze to the world beyond the chapel doors. What miracles await us? just beyond the horizon. Are we ready to step forward into the unknown? The air vibrated with anticipation, a fusion of hope and trepidation. The next chapter of their journey beckoned, shimmering with divine possibility. Would they find the courage to follow the call of their ancestors? What awaited them in the unfolding depths of their faith? The atmosphere shifted, electric with a sense of purpose as the elder stepped forward again, his voice softening into a melody of wisdom. As we stand on the edge of the unknown, we must embrace the stories that bind us. The tale of Cain's wife is not just a story of the past, but a divine message for the present. Sarah leaned in, feeling a tug in her heart, a call to remember the profound truth woven through their heritage. What is it that we must learn? She whispered, almost as if afraid to break the spell of the moment. The legacy of our ancestors is built on faith and love, the elder replied, his eyes shining brightly amid the dim light. From them, we inherit not just trials but also the spirit of resilience. The 12 sacred children of Adam and Eve have gifted us stories, rich with lessons. They encountered dark times, yet each chose to rise, to cultivate their inner strength. A murmur of agreement rippled through the gathered villagers, igniting their collective spirit like flames awakened by the wind. Sarah felt her pulse quicken, the anticipation swelling with each heartbeat. What if their stories are intertwined with our own? She mused, her voice gaining confidence. What if the miracles we seek lie within the threads of their experiences? Yes. The elder responded, his voice echoing with passion. Every challenge faced and every triumph won is a step toward the miraculous legacy they left for us. Hope was their beacon. They lit the way, and now, it is our turn to carry that light forward. The rain, which had weaved a backdrop of solace, began to soften. The clouds were lifting, and in that moment, glimmers of sunlight broke through, spilling golden rays into the chapel, igniting it with an almost heavenly glow. Gasps of wonder spread through the congregation like a warm breeze. We are the torchbearers of their stories, cried Sarah, her heart swelling with a newfound urgency. Let us open our hearts to the possibility of transformation. What if each step we take is filled with divine hope? What if our struggles are merely seeds for future miracles? The villagers responded with heartfelt amens, their voices soaring in unison, shaking the walls of the chapel with resounding faith. Each one felt the presence of their ancestors in that sacred space, an encouragement to press forward despite their doubts. As the elder raised his arms in prayer, a deep stillness gripped the chapel once more, urging them into contemplation. Prepare yourselves, beloveds. The path we tread may have rocky edges, but with each step, let us nurture the seeds of hope within our community. Think not of the burdens we carry, but of the legacy we will create. Thoughts swirled and intertwined with visions of a brighter future, yet an unshakable sense of vulnerability lingered. But how will we nurture this legacy? Ventured a voice from the back. Young Thomas, eyes wide and worried. What if we falter? What if we become lost again in the chaos? The elder smiled warmly, gently lowering his arms. Ah, dear Thomas. Remember, even in moments of doubt, we are never truly alone. There is a divine grace that guides us, ever present in our struggles. When we hold on to each other, our faith becomes a union woven together like the fabric of our stories. In times of uncertainty, lean into love. Trust that each experience brings us closer to our purpose. The light, brighter still, called forth an unyielding wave of hope. Sarah took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. She felt a shift, an awakening within. So, it is not merely about the destination, she reasoned, but how we journey together. Each step we take will bring us closer to understanding our sacred legacy. The villagers nodded, their hearts igniting with fresh faith. Together, they could feel the divine light pulsing, alive with energy, a promise that the storms of life would not defeat them. As the sun began to set, casting an orange hue across the sky, the elder turned to the door of the chapel, where the world awaited beyond its comforting walls. Shall we venture forward? He asked, his voice filled with determination. What will our next steps reveal? They stood at the threshold, the air thick with anticipation. Just then, a distant sound caught their ears, a melodious cry, a call that echoed through the woods. "What is that?" Sarah pondered, her heart racing. The villagers exchanged glances, each one charged with curiosity and trepidation. What divine revelation awaited them just beyond the horizon? The melodious cry hung in the air like a sacred incantation, weaving around them, drawing every heart into its mysteries. It resonated deep within their souls, a sacred hymn calling them to adventure. The sun dipped lower, casting elongated shadows around the chapel, as if spirits of the past stood sentinel, watching, waiting. What could it be? Thomas asked, his voice trembling, caught between fear and fascination. "I don't know," Sarah replied, feeling an odd mixture of trepidation and excitement. "But it feels important." The elder nodded, his gaze steady, yet filled with the luster of anticipation. Sometimes, beloveds, the unknown calls us in ways we do not expect. It is in following that call we often find our purpose. With a gentle push, he opened the chapel doors, the hinges creaking softly, releasing them into a world shimmering under a veil of dusk. The wind picked up a soft rhythm, an echo of the melody still ringing in their ears, guiding their steps. Those gathered left the familiar warmth of the chapel, stepping into the cool embrace of the evening, hearts beating in unison like a collective drum. "Stay close," the elder instructed, his tone firm but soothing. "Let us move together in faith. Our feet may tread unknown paths, but our spirits are intertwined." Silently, they walked in a line, each step becoming a prayer, a testament to their courage. The cry grew stronger, clearer, a beacon of hope resonating through the trees. Flora brushed against their arms, encouraging them forward, as if nature itself conspired to support their journey. "What if it's a sign?" Sarah whispered to Thomas, her excitement bubbling over. "What if it leads us to the miracle we are meant to uncover?" With every passing moment, visions of possibility danced around them. Each person was tethered not just to the present but to the tapestry of their ancestors, feeling the strength of that lineage weaving through their feet into the earth. Suddenly, the path opened up into a clearing. A circle of ancient trees towered there, their gnarled trunks witnesses to countless generations. In the center stood a shimmering figure, ethereal and warm, a woman radiant with light, her presence a tender balm to the weary spirits. With eager eyes, they stepped closer, the woman's voice washing over them like a gentle tide. "Welcome, children of promise," she began, each word a melody that resonated in their hearts. "I am the essence of the love that binds you to your past. Are you?" Thomas's voice faltered, the weight of recognition settling upon him. "Yes. I am she who walked with Cain," the woman answered, a smile gracing her luminous face. "And through my story, you shall find breadcrumbs leading to deeper understanding. The legacy we speak of is nurtured by the love you carry." As she spoke, visions unfolded around them, images of long-lost moments, trials intertwined with perseverance, love that bridged chasms between generations. Sarah felt emotion swell within her, a warmth igniting her soul. She looked at the villagers beside her, their eyes reflecting the same awakening. The trials of your ancestors are your trials. Their triumphs are your guideposts. Embrace this knowledge, and dare to believe in the miracles waiting to be uncovered. The air pulsed around them, eliciting gasps of reverence. The villagers, spellbound, were drawn closer. "What must we do?" Sarah finally asked, her voice steady, despite the tremors of excitement coursing through her. The figure smiled and gestured toward the trees, whispering, "You must listen, for the answers lie in the whispers of the winds, in the rustling leaves. Connect with the stories that short-circuit your heart and soul. Only then will you grasp the full magnitude of your inheritance." With that, the melody swelled anew, a harmony rich with promise, lifting them into a shared moment of destiny. Breathless, Sarah could hardly hold the anticipation. What if we are indeed destined for something more than ourselves? What if our lineage holds the key to miracles? As the last rays of sunlight faded, revealing a blanket of stars, they felt an urgency, an invitation to dig deeper into their faith. And in that stillness, a single star twinkled brighter than the rest, whispering secrets of divine mysteries yet to be revealed. What path awaited them, illuminated by courage and wrapped in divine grace. The clearing shimmered with an ethereal glow, the light from the shimmering figure casting a warm radiance over the gathered villagers. Breathless with wonder, they exchanged glances, their hearts racing with the thrill of divine connection. What lay ahead shimmered with promise, yet felt like an ever-deepening mystery. "Listen," the woman intoned, her voice a gentle breeze that rustled through the branches. The villagers drew closer, almost as if the very trees leaned in to hear her words. "Listen to the whispers of your past, to the stories that have been woven into the very fabric of your being." The elder stepped forward, his face illuminated with reverence. "Are there truths we must uncover?" he inquired, his voice soft yet reverberating with authority, the weight of his faith ringing clear in the quiet dusk. "Indeed," she replied, her smile radiant as a dawning sun. "You each carry the blood of prophets and the grace of the faithful. Every challenge you face is but a chapter in the grand narrative of love and redemption. Open your hearts to the echoes of your lineage." Excitement bubbled over in Sarah's chest. How do we listen? How do we discover what these whispers tell? The woman gestured again, this time with a sweeping motion toward the ancient trees standing guard. "Your communion with nature and history is sacred. Sit beneath the boughs, find silence within, and allow the stories of old to flow into your spirits. Meditate upon the moments that have shaped you. In your deepest reverie, the spirit of your ancestors will speak." Thomas reached out, taking hold of Sarah's hand. "Shall we take her counsel? We can immerse ourselves in the questions that linger, the fears and hopes that bind us." The elder nodded his approval, breaking into a warm smile. "Together, beloveds, let us honor the call. We cannot let fear hold us back. Who knows what treasures await our discovery?" With hearts full, they formed a circle beneath the stout branches of the trees. The warmth of the earth seeped into their backs as they settled onto the mossy ground, surrendering to the moment that stretched like an eternity. One by one, they closed their eyes, forming an unbroken bond, their spirits weaving together. As they sat, the world around them transformed. The rustling of leaves became celestial music, guiding them deeper into reflection. They probed the recesses of their memories, calling upon moments of laughter, pain, and lessons learned. Each heartbeat resonated like a drum, echoing the multitude of lives lived before them. Visions began to unfold, a tapestry of bright colors and shadowy figures. They saw tumultuous moments of strife, but woven through that were threads of unwavering love, hope, and faith. Their hearts pounded as they realized the magnitude of what they inherited, a legacy of resilience, a mantle passed down through generations. Suddenly, a soft glow enveloped them, and Sarah felt a gentle tug at her spirit. Images of her ancestors danced before her eyes, their struggles, their joys, a glorious melody of life. Emotions overwhelmed her, tears flowed, each droplet releasing centuries of hidden love and strength, and then, they all heard it, a whisper, faint yet resolute, like a sweet echo threading through the air. "You are never alone. Anchor your faith in the stories of your ancestors. Lies not just their triumphs, but your own. Embrace them." With a surge of strength, she extended the revelation, each villager now feeling the weight of expectation and promise. The call to action surged through them like a river breaking its banks. What if we are meant to rise, take action, and transform our community? Thomas breathed, eyes brightened with fervor, and in that moment, a new wave of energy washed over them, a stirring of purpose resonating within their hearts. They were being asked not only to listen but to rise up, answer the call in unity and faith. As the moon peeked through the canopy, illuminating their faces, a serenity settled within them. The shimmering woman's figure began to shimmer and fade, but not before proclaiming, "The time is upon you, children. Your divine legacy awaits your choice." The air thickened with expectancy, sparking an urge in each of them to step forward into their purpose, ready to embrace the paths illuminated by hope and courage. They felt the weight of the call echo within their hearts, and as they opened their eyes, stars began to dance across the night sky, pinpricks of light weaving a pattern of connection, whispering more questions into the night. What would they uncover as they walked into the heart of their legacy, stepping boldly into the unknown? The stars twinkled brightly above, each one a beacon of hope as the villagers slowly opened their eyes. A soft stillness wrapped around them, the night air humming with possibility. Each of them held a spark of divine energy, burgeoning with the whispers of the past, beckoning them to explore the uncharted waters of their collective fate. Now what? Sarah whispered, her heart fluttering with anticipation. The weight of the vision still lingered in her mind, a pulsing reminder of the divine call that had been set in motion. Thomas looked to the elder, the lines on his face drawn tight with contemplation. "We must act upon what we've received," he urged. "But how do we begin?" The elder took a moment, his eyes reflecting the glow of the ancient trees surrounding them. "We start with our stories. Each of you carries within a fragment of truth. We must gather, share, and weave together our legacies. Only then can we fully understand the purpose awaiting us." Encouragement filled the air as they began to share their own stories. Each villager opened their hearts, recounting tales of hardship, faith, and resilience. Sarah spoke of her grandmother's struggles, how she overcame adversity through unyielding faith. As she spoke, a silvery thread of love wove through the very essence of her spirit. Then it was Thomas's turn. He recounted a time of doubt that had enveloped him like a thick fog, a moment when he felt entirely lost. Yet, through prayer and the loving embrace of community, he had found his way back to grace. The stories flowed like a river, each person punctuating the air with their truth, melding together as one. With each account, the collective spirit among them surged. They saw their interconnectedness, their pain was no longer solitary but a shared burden, and their joys reverberated through the circle, igniting the bonds of their community. "I feel it," Sarah exclaimed, her voice trembling with emotion. "The strength in our stories. It's like we're standing on the shoulders of giants, they're right here with us." As they continued to share, a soft wind wrapped around them, a caress that felt like gentle affirmation. The air shimmered with a palpable energy, and a chorus of serene whispers echoed through the clearing. "Embrace your legacy, let the light of your ancestors guide your next steps." Elders nodded, recognizing the weight of their new purpose. An understanding settled in. They were to nurture the seeds of faith planted long ago and cultivate them in ways that would transform their community. "Let us not just speak our stories, let us act," declared Thomas, his resolve igniting a fire within. "Let us reach out. Help one another. Create a tapestry of support. We must spread this hope." Elation surged, washing over the gathering. They erupted in life, their spirits brightening as plans began to take shape. Ideas blossomed like flowers in a once fallow field, a community garden to share food, a warmth of fellowship for those in need, a gathering place dedicated to sharing faith and wisdom. As laughter mingled with solemn vows, they realized the path ahead was paved not just with their dreams but with the honest, open sharing of who they were. Yet, just as their enthusiasm reached a crescendo, the woman's figure flickered back into view, her presence a stark contrast to the energy of the night. "Remember, dear ones," she said softly, her voice an echo carried on the wind, "the path is not without trials. Each step draws you closer to the essence of your legacy. You must be vigilant. Shadows may emerge where light breaks too fiercely." Questions rushed through their minds, uncertainty mingling with purpose. What shadows was she speaking of? And would they be ready to face them as they stepped boldly forward into their destiny? As the villagers pondered these words, the stars twinkled brighter than ever, as if urging them toward the dawn of something incredible. What challenges would arise on this journey? Would they have the strength to confront the shadows looming ahead? As dawn broke on the village, a brilliant tapestry of light awakened each heart. Sarah looked around at her fellow villagers, their faces illuminated not just by the sun, but by a resilient spirit. They had embraced their shared stories, and with them came a sense of purpose, a collective resolve woven from the narratives of their ancestors, of love, resilience, and unwavering faith. The air buzzed with urgency. The elders gathered everyone under the grand oak tree, its branches stretching wide, inviting their hopes like leaves to the sunlight. Beloveds, the elder began, his voice rich with reverence. Today, we embark on a journey birthed from the whispers of our past. But remember, every legacy comes with responsibilities. They listened intently, each member of the community feeling the divine weight of the moment. It is time, he continued, for us to sow the seeds of faith we've cultivated through our stories. Let us build a sanctuary for our people, a space where hope blooms uncontainably, where we can inspire strength in each other and dispel the shadows looming outside our hearts. Elation surged through the crowd. They formed smaller groups, each one buzzing with ideas on how to put their newfound purpose into action. Sarah joined forces with Thomas and a few others. "Let us start our community garden," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. "We'll grow vegetables for those in need and show them the power of nourishment of body and soul." As they busied themselves in planning the garden, Sarah recalled the ancient manuscript and the sacred children. In her mind, their joy echoed, spurring her onwards. "We have inherited a legacy of resilience," she reminded her group. "Let us channel it into everything we do." And so it began. The villagers pooled their resources, funds and feasts shared among them. The church now transformed into a center of unity, echoing with laughter and joy. With each burden lifted and each hand helped, shadows began to fade. They sung songs of old, celebrated small victories, and nurtured bonds that could withstand any storm. But just as the seeds of hope began to take root, uncertainty washed over Sarah one evening as she knelt in prayer beneath the stars. "Lord, will we truly be able to sustain this? What if doubts arise again? What challenges are yet to come?" Her heart felt heavy as she wrestled with her faith. The cool wind whispered around her, comforting yet stirring. Just then, the radiant figure of the woman who had first greeted them appeared, her presence breathtaking as the stars twinkled brightly above. "Do not fear, Sarah," she said, her voice soothing. "Remember, shadows only linger where light is not embraced. Your journey will not be without trials, but in every challenge lies divine potential. Stand firm, trust in the strength of your community, and you will rise." Tears filled Sarah's eyes, a deep well of hope flooding her heart. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling the warmth of divine love surround her. The figure smiled gently, and with a nod, she faded into the breeze, leaving behind a luminous path of encouragement. The days turned to weeks, and the garden flourished, just as their bonds deepened. They faced every challenge together. Drought threatened the region, but they rallied, praying and working diligently under the sun. They learned from one another, lifting up those who faltered, offering laughter when the weight grew heavy. As ribbons of cauliflower, tomatoes, and leafy greens sprouted, a chorus of excitement erupted, a communal triumph against the drought, a symbol of their intertwined faith and resilience. But even as joy resonated through the village, a dark storm began to gather in the distance. Rumblings of discontent echoed from neighboring lands who looked upon their community with envy, their crops failing and spirits low. Fear crept in, a whisper warning of opposition and judgment, threatening to unravel their collective strength. The elders called for a meeting, and Sarah stood with her neighbors gazing at the storm clouds in the distance. Uncertainty fluttered like the wind. "What if they come to take what we've built?" someone murmured. "What if our light becomes a target?" An ache settled over the villagers. But Sarah would not let fear define them. "They may come with intentions unknown," she said firmly, "but let us greet them not with disdain, but with love and openness. We are called to share not just our harvest but our hearts, the very essence of our legacy." Encouraged, the village crafted baskets filled with fresh produce, green beans, zucchini, sweet potatoes, more than enough to fill each needy hand. Together, they ventured forth to meet the approaching storm. As they reached the border of their village, they were met not with hostility, but weary faces seeking solace. Gasps of gratitude erupted as they offered their harvest, sharing stories of their struggles and victories against adversity. The shadows lurking within their sibling village softened with each genuine smile. "What if we come together?" a leader from the neighboring land proposed, his eyes shining with hope. "We've fought to survive alone for far too long. Let us join in cultivating this shared legacy, build a future united in faith and resilience. The meeting that began in fear transformed into an epiphany of possibilities. Hands joined across the fields, seeds of healing planted among burnt earth. The storm that had loomed threatened to disperse, replaced instead by the radiance of unity. Sarah lifted her eyes toward the sky, a deep peace washing over her. Lord, thank you for showing us that our story weaves into the stories of others. In every heart, there is a place for hope. As their laughter echoed through the land, sunlight cascaded through the clouds. The warmth ignited within everyone, a reminder that there was power in their legacy, their beloved ancestors guiding them through storms, showing them that love and faith would always be greater than the shadows that sought to divide. In that moment, Sarah understood, miracles were not found in the absence of trials, but in the resilience of community, the embrace of shared stories, and the unwavering light that grows through faith. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows behind them, yet the promise of tomorrow shone bright. They had embraced their legacy, found purpose, and, together, walked boldly into the unfolding journey ahead. Now, dear friends, this is your call to action. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you won't miss the next unforgettable faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this divine message. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful manifestation. Your actions help spread the light of faith together. Let us shine bright.